Welcome to Mental Fitness, the Gateway to Success podcast, providing business owners, leaders, and entrepreneurs with the 3 INs: insights, inspirations, and intentional actions. Delivered through monologues and dialogues, we address topics like leadership, productivity, time management, work-life balance, and challenges like stress, conflict, mental health, and much more. Please do not hold back from suggesting specific topics and guests you would like on this podcast. Greetings and welcome to this first episode in Season 2 of Mental Fitness, the Gateway to Success. Welcome back if you've been here before, and welcome if you are new. As I promised, let's say Happy New Year too. This episode will most likely air in the very beginning of February, so I guess we can still say Happy New Year. And as I promised last year, after I did the test run of half a year of doing these podcasts on a weekly basis, that I decided to carry on, which I didn't think I would, but I'm not going to elaborate on that because I did that in the last episode, in episode 26. So feel free to go back and have a watch on that if you haven't already. And in that I also explained some of the reasons why I did that, and what I don't think I did mention, or what I will mention just today briefly before getting into really what this episode is about, is typical kind of feedback you get from places like Spotify. They would of course like for your show to look good. However, I do believe that the statistics they're putting out are accurate. So for example, they say that my show was a 2025 marathon show because I had that regular every single week, which is unusual for new podcasts, and also an instant hit show, whatever that means, and a 2025 talked about show. And just a couple of quick, one more top in the top 30% of videos on Spotify. So I'm quite happy being in the top 30% with a brand new only once a week thing and a #1 show for 20 fans. So if you happen to be one of those fans, thank you so much. A thumbs up to you. And then, of course, I also had planned just to do a last episode before Christmas, talking a bit about mental fitness and Christmas and things like that. But that didn't happen. And the reason it didn't happen is because I got helicoptered to the intensive care unit at Auckland Hospital, half an hour helicopter ride from the local hospital, and spend 14 full days and nights in the intensive care unit, being checked in on every 2 hours, day and night. So not much time, or being able to get some decent sleep wasn't possible. And being in the intensive care unit with, I don't know, 10, 12 beds in that unit, nurses and doctors walking around all the time, and all these beep beeps going off. And I got to learn all the beep beep sounds and what they all meant, but they were pretty much 24/7. So the idea of getting some good rest and like supporting the healing journey was just not possible there. And then finally, after 2 full weeks in the intensive care, I got out into the normal ward where you're only like 4 people in the room and only get woken up every 4 hours to be checked on. So that was quite a relief. And then after a couple of days there, they sent me home. Now, in terms of this podcast and this episode today, and also the way going forward, is going to be similar pattern as it was last year. So once a week, most likely on Thursdays. And I'm going to try to do the same of alternating between just me talking about stuff and having guests on. Again, if you happen to know of any guests who would like to come on, no, please get in touch. I'm finding it quite challenging to get people to come on, so I'm not going to commit to a guest episode every second week. It may only be like less than that, but I will aim at making it every second week. Now, back to what this podcast really is about. Two things. It's about mental fitness and it is about sharing stories. So today, the story is going to be a bit about my story of, or not so much why I ended up in intensive care and what the problem was or what we think the problem is, because the doctor seems to not really know what the problem is, in part not knowing. So I'm waiting for another scan in a couple of weeks' time, and then a follow-up conversation with the doctors from the hospital to get some hopefully final insights onto what actually happened and what is the best way forward for me to ideally keep this from happening again. Because trust me, it was not a pleasant experience at all. But relating this to mental fitness. Um, an interesting thing that I noticed along the way is that when people came, friends and family came to visit me, not only did they look extremely worried, they also openly said how worried they were about me being there and happy that I was alive. Because for some that seemed to be a surprise surprise as well. And the funny in quotes like this, the funny part of that for me was that I wasn't worried. No, I wasn't feeling good at all, and it was pretty bad at times. Um, but worrying about my health and what was happening was not one of the things that was taking place for me. And for me, like logically, it didn't make sense. Not, I don't know that that's not enough, but it's like, how is worrying gonna help me? Why would I worry about something, one I can't do anything about, and something I don't really know about? Worrying in and of itself has absolutely no value to me. And actually, other people worrying about me has no value to me either, or to them. Uh, but that's by the by. I totally understand and respect that people were worried. So why is it that I didn't worry? And I think to a large extent, coming back to what we're talking about here, was mental fitness, is the decades that I've spent in growing my mental fitness and not allowing something that was not useful to come into the equation, because again I couldn't see how that was going to benefit me in that. Now, on the other side of that, does that mean that I just had this wonderful positive attitude and smile on my face all the time going through all of this? Hell no. No, there were plenty of times where I was feeling absolute shit. But the worrying part didn't come in. And again, also because of the mental fitness that I currently have, which is pretty good, and there's plenty of space for improvement. But because of that level that is at the moment, whenever I was in those places that were pretty uncomfortable for whatever reason, I was able to just be with that discomfort. And when a sense of agitation or annoyance or frustration with what was happening or what was not happening, like people not coming and telling me what I believe that I needed to be told, I could get through that that tension fairly quickly by just recognizing, okay, now I have gone into this mind state. It is not helping me. It is not helping the situation. It is not creating any results whatsoever. And then in that insight, there is that moment of just, okay, just let it go. So in that way, I was acknowledged for how well my healing and how fast it took place. And I think in part that is because of not spending mental energy in worrying and being agitated for too long at a time mentally. And then through my practice over the decades, I was able to just allow my awareness to go into the physical experiences that I was having, which sometimes was multiple experiences. You're wired up with, at some point I had three like blood injection points plugged in and being used to inject things and checking blood pressure and so on, and being drip fed for several days as well with liquid because I was not in a space to eat or even to drink water. So there was all that going on and all the beeping and not being able to sleep. And then, yeah, most of the time being okay, mentally okay in that space. And then again, I give credit to that for the mental fitness that I have been able and been supported to grow over the many years that I've been practicing that. Um, then I have now been back for the moment of recording this about a month. It'll be more 5, 6 weeks by the time this gets out, and that's in the recovery process, obviously, and I definitely have to take it easier. I am back coaching and doing my work, and now back doing these recordings, and that's absolutely fine. But it is recovery, and I do need to take things in life a lot easier at the moment. So in that, where does mental fitness then come into that? And initially, when even though they've already told me this, like things you're just going, it's going great. I'm recovering. I'm feeling better every day, and it's great. And then suddenly, there is a few days where it just goes completely backwards. And it is very, very easy to get frustrated. And I say, I just thought, it was going great. And then suddenly it's just not going great at all. And initially, again, there comes moments of frustration with that, and irritation, and lack of patience, and all those wonderful things. Again, the mental fitness helped me in getting through that, not avoiding it, but getting through it really, really quickly, and just accepting this is the way it is. Because what is going to improve the speed at which I heal, or any human being heals, it is not adding in mental worry into the picture. That I can't see helping at all, other than maybe looking at something just for a few moments and then making some decisions based on that. So being able to mentally relax into that allows my body to relax. And one of the key things at the hospital was that, my blood pressure had to be under 140 all the time. And whenever it was over 140, they would just inject something into me. And then 10 minutes later, it was down below 140. And sometimes that was every 4 hours or every 6 hours. And one day it was every 45 minutes. So they were on and on about that. So what I did when I came back, I bought a blood pressure monitor. I'm not sure whether that's a good idea or not, but it does have given me, I'm a quite curious person and want to understand how things work. So it's been really interesting watching that when the blood pressure is higher than it should be, which on the bad days, it's higher all day long. On good days, it is not. So it's interesting to learn that. And again, just something else to get irritated or frustrated with. And again, that's the mental fitness into that. So, if there's any of you who got experience with monitoring blood pressure that you would like to share with me, either message me or put some comments in below this video. That would be great to hear some other stories. Um, so essentially, where things are at now, it's a recovery, it's a resting time, it is taking it easier. I have been back to the gym, just taking it easier at the gym. And getting my fitness back, and so many people tell me, "Gee, you lost some weight," and I say, "Oh, no shit, Sherlock." Um, so putting some weight back on, I guess, is a good thing. The appetite is absolutely fine. The body is working absolutely fine in that respect, so that's good. The mind is working. There has been no loss of mental capacity. So whether there's going to be any long-term effects here, who knows? And I will update you in like once I've had that update from the hospital, when I've had that conversation in a few weeks' time. I'm happy to give you an update on what might have happened, and what's the outlook of that is for going forward. So with that, I don't want to make this episode any longer than it needs to be in this respect, other than really, really encourage anybody listening to do whatever you can to grow your mental fitness. Because from my own experience, not just this recent one, but many, many other experiences, the higher our mental fitness is, the better we are at meeting and dealing with the challenges that we run into, whether it is challenges we take on consciously and decide to take on, or a challenge like this that I definitely did not decide consciously to take on. I just ended up in that and suddenly found myself in a helicopter. And I would by far prefer to have a helicopter ride where I can easily look out the window and really enjoy the journey. But in this case, no, it was not particularly enjoyable half hour journey. But I did get a chance to at least see some of the view, and the night sky of flying past the Sky Tower in Auckland, which was quite spectacular. Ways that you can support this podcast, of course, is to watch it, is to like things, to subscribe to things. But more importantly, if you can think of guests, whether that's yourself or people you know who's got some interesting stories and experiences of their mental fitness, both lacking the mental fitness and ending up in trouble, and having mental fitness and creating some fantastic outcomes, which I know every single human being have experiences of that. The question is whether you are comfortable sharing it with me in front of a camera and putting it out in public is a different story. But I can recommend it that people I've had on have said that it was an incredible and wonderful experience. And you don't have to share the most intimate things. No, if you don't want, you're the one who's choosing what you share here. It's about sharing stories to inspire other people, everyday people. You don't have to have done ridiculous, outrageous things to come on here. Just everyday things. Because most people listening to this will also be everyday people. Um, so if you know of anybody, please get in touch. Um, Lastly, if you have any particular topics, somewhat any kind of way relating to mental fitness, which almost anything will do, anything that you would like for me to talk about, or bringing some guests along to share their expertise or awareness or knowledge of that, please put it in the comments or contact me personally with things you would like here, because there's no point in me sitting here talking and bringing guests on and talking about stuff that you are not interested in. So I'll really appreciate some feedback on what you would like. Either different stuff or more of the same. All of that is fine. So, with that, thank you for being here, and I look forward to this journey over the next 6 months of this season 2 of the Mental Fitness, the Gateway to Success podcast. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Mental Fitness, the Gateway to Success. If you have stories of how mental fitness has benefited you that you are happy to share, go to my website, Mikal.nz, click on podcast and fill in the guest application form. If you want direct support from me utilizing my 40 years of mental fitness learning and practice, email me at coach@mikal.nz or message me on LinkedIn. Any feedback, review, share, follow, like, or any other good stuff is of course appreciated. Thank you for listening to Mental Fitness, the Gateway to Success podcast. I'm your host, Mikal Nielsen.